Good morning, my name's Tom Klein. I live here in Bertram Street with my wife Yvonne and my 3 young children. We're having a house retrofitted and we're living here while the work's going on.
Welcome to Bertram Street in North Camden, a housing retrofit project which saves an amazing 77% of the carbon and does it with tenants in place, even with the internal wall insulation. A faster, better and cheaper system for all. The system is faster, it's better because it makes no noise or disruption to the tenants, and it's cheaper. It can take only 2 days to do a whole house.
Okay, I'm Alistair Silver from United House, and we developed the process to cut and fit the boards in this particular property. This is the first property that's been done. There's millions of them to be done in the country, but this is the very first one, and we learned a lot of lessons along the way.
To achieve this, we've used a 3-stage process. First of all, we cocoon the whole house using high insulation techniques using the whiskers system. Well, we start by measuring the wards very accurately with a 3-dimensional accurate laser survey within 5 millimeters. We then take that information and go through a process of minimum board cutting, where we jiggle the pieces around on a computer and use that information to send automatically to a digital cutting machine which makes the parts. The material comes to site pre-cut very accurately within 3 millimeters. Finally, we take those parts and stick them on the wall to get our insulated wall in an hour or less per room. You can see here that this is the space that's taken up by the insulation, so that looks just about like an ordinary window space does with a reveal, and there's also a wide windowsill so that you can put all your objects on that. The glass in the old windows is going to be replaced with vacuum double glazing, which performs about 5 times better than conventional single glass and also looks good in an old Victorian sash. The roof space has been very well insulated with 300 millimeters of rock wool insulation. Then we use photovoltaic panels and solar thermal panels to provide electricity and hot water, and we do this inside the traditional London roof, which is invisible from the street. The south-facing side of the roof has got solar panels on it, one lot of photovoltaic panels, and the other is solar thermal panels which produce hot water. The grey and blue box holds the equipment that takes the current from the photovoltaic panels on the roof and feeds that into the electricity system of the house, so that once it's installed you get free electricity. Finally, we use an efficient gas boiler to provide the residual heat.
Hi, I'm Russell Smith from Parity Projects, and we've been charged with monitoring the performance of the building and the performance of the individual systems and insulation, that kind of thing in the building. That's going to be carrying on for 2 winters. In detail, we are monitoring the overall performance of the house such that we know exactly what electricity, gas is being used. The way we're monitoring though is on a periodic basis, so that we can also look at the patterns of consumption across those periods.
The house is being monitored to check whether there are problems with damping in various places, particularly in the ends of joists underneath the floorboards, and we're using humidity sensors to do that are just put in underneath the floor.
My favourite part of the build is the harnessing of the sun's energy and power to produce hot water and electricity. It's a thing that fascinates my whole family and is definitely our favourite part of the construction.
This project is important not just for Bertram Street, but for the country as a whole. For the first time, we can insulate walls without the residents having to leave the house, and doing it in such a short period of time that the disruption is minimised. There's no sawing on site, there's no mess, there's no noise, there's no disruption. We need this sort of technique in order to deal with the 500,000 houses a year that we need to do every year for the next 40 years if we're going to achieve our 80% reduction rate. The project was developed by a consortium of the Sustainable Energy Academy, United House and Parity Projects, working with the London Borough of Camden and Canal Insulation, and kindly funded by the Technology Strategy Board.